everybody, the next team is the Golden State Warriors. Gifted it to everybody else that's going to chime in on the Warriors. This segment is titled "What's Next." So we did the Nets today, we did the Bulls today, and we did the Spurs today. We have two more teams to go. It'd be the Warriors and then the Heat. Gifted and anybody else, when you chime in on this segment, is basically looking at your record last year. Do you think you're going over or under that mark? What do you think is going to be the biggest changes, if any, from last year to this year? And what do you think is next for your team as far as going into this season and also the future? So that's what this segment is all about. So what's next? I clipped the segment and I posted it toward my YouTube channel. So Gifted, man, last year you guys went 46-36, I think. 46 and last year you guys went 46-36. Do you have you guys going over under that mark? And then what do you think will be the biggest changes from this year to this year, positively or negatively? And then what do you think is next for your team this upcoming season and next the future? Sorry.
Real quick, first off, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I want to say shout out to Ev, shout out to Facts and Stats for all y'all in the playback showing support. I need y'all to step it up on the YouTube side, man. Get that man support on his YouTube, brother. YouTube, like he's trying to expand and do big things. He be consistent with the show all the time. If y'all in the playback for hours and hours, do that same shit in the YouTube. Spend with the comments, like, comment, subscribe. All that stuff helps grow. Big shout out to Ev. I'm happy to be here, bro.
Much love, bro. Like what you just did, like damn, much love, bro. That's some shit that I would do. It's not even about me though. I want to give you the flowers. That was an amazing introduction, bro. That means a lot because that's really the biggest focus for me right now is the YouTube, grinding the YouTube. The growth is coming on a day-to-day basis, but you don't stop here. You know, you got a lot of ways to go, and to see your growth from the other side of things is phenomenal, bro. Bleacher, 2,000 plus subscribers. What you're doing on Gifted Hoops, the consistency, the grind, the work, everything that you're putting in, bro, don't go unnoticed. So keep working. It's good to have you come here and talk about the Warriors, bro.
Hey man, much appreciated, man. It's hard making content, especially when you do it like every day. Like y'all boys have been busy all off season as well, and this regular season, and you do football as well. You do two different sports, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
means a lot. All the support matters, but I'm officially excited and ready to get into it. The NBA season begins in like 20 days or something like that. Can you say what your question was again? I'm sorry.
Nah, you good, bro. Over under. Start. They were gonna start there. You guys won 46 games last year. Over under, and then after that, what do you think will be the biggest differences from last season to this season? You can talk about the positive things and also the negative things. And what do you think is next for you guys this season and also the future?
Got it. So in terms of the over under for the Warriors, last year was a very turbulent season for Golden State to say the very least. Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson started out their year really underperforming at a drastic level. There was a lot of reliance on younger players to make up for productivity. I think a big impact to the season in terms of wins was obviously Draymond being the crash out that he was last year. Completely missing a lot of games based off of his on court circumstances. And for the Warriors, their big thing that they've always leaned on for years and years and years in terms of producing wins and having success is being a top 10 defense. Last year, they weren't that. They had moments after the All-Star break where they were able to become that, but a lot of it stems because this roster simply isn't the same as it was. It relies on younger players to do a lot of different roles and responsibilities. I do think that they're trying to get back to that defensive tilt because ultimately, offensively, there's not many bright spots on this team. There's a chance that Jonathan Kuminga is going to have to be the secondary scorer for this team in terms of points per game. So having a strong defensive tilt with Steph Curry, who is still like a top talent in the NBA, is going to probably be their tilt. But a lot of this really relies on Draymond playing more games, Steph Curry being able to play near the same amount of games he played last year, which surprisingly he played 70 games. But in terms of if I'm taking the over or the under on the Warriors, for me, I'm probably leaning near the under. I think it really depends on the young players taking steps. If Jonathan Kuminga's shot can become respectable and Steve Kerr is giving him consistent rotational minutes, I do think He's inbounds to have a growth in his game all season long. He has been working on his ball handle. They're trying to get B Pods as a player to take more threes a game to really impact the defense that he sees. So if those things are able to happen, I think their peak could be higher than their current projection. But I'm leaning under based on all the amount of things that would have to happen. I have to see what this season evolves into. I think the first 25 games is a good sample for that.
Love to hear that. Bart, I muted you real quick, just due to you coughing and dealing with some things. So if you get some water or some tea, brother. Uh, you spoke about Kaminga and the possibility on Beckham having a respectable outside shot. What you see on the screen, would you want that to be your starting five going into the season?
Uh, let's see, Curry, B Pods, Andrew Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond. I do think that might wind up being the five. I don't think that's a bad five. I think the rotation really matters in terms of defense and then offense. But I think starting out, it really depends on how how offensively aggressive B Pods is. If he's not that, then he probably should start.
Okay. Another follow up. When I heard you, another follow up would be. I lost it that fast. Goodness. Since you guys haven't potentially gone under the 46 win mark, do you think? Yeah, that's coming heavy. So I'm gonna pass it to you. Do you guys? And you can ask them if you. Would you guys go under the 46 win mark? Do you think you guys make the playoffs this year or playing?
Yeah, in the Western Conference, I gotta say, I'm curious about what the standard win total is going to be because I think there's a lot of good teams in the league where it's either yeah sure it's either going to be a lot of 50 win teams or the entire win total in the West is down. It really depends on that. I would say in terms of just projecting if we make the playoffs or not, that really depends if this team is in the play-in or not. I think the play-in is such a crapshoot because ultimately, even if you are a playoff caliber team, most of the teams that are projected to be in that playing conversation are playoff caliber teams. So it's kind of hard to see exactly where they're going to be able to go. I would lean. It really depends on the plan. It's hard for me to like actually have a real answer with that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna bring up one more thing real quick for heaven's sake. The departure of Klay Thompson. Obviously, you had the Splash Bros, you had Steph Curry and Klay basically coming together, basically grow Golden State together, alongside of some early names, David Lee, and obviously Andre Iguodala and Bogut and things of that nature. Even shout out to Monte. Um, what do you think the departure of Klay Thompson is going to do for your guys and also their locker room?
Yeah, the Clay Thompson departure is an interesting thing. There are some Warriors fans who are overtly sad that he's not on this roster, and there are some fans who think he's garbage and shouldn't have been on the roster in the first place. I'm kind of in the middle of that with Clay. Clay Thompson still, I think, in terms of shot making, could do a lot of things other players on the roster couldn't be. But in terms of his defense, it was pretty putrid. He didn't have many high moments defensively last year. I also think that his role had to shift to not playing heavy minutes based on the variance of his shooting. But I think with Klay Thompson being gone, you open up more avenues for more athleticism and more opportunity defensively for the team. And I think that's the tilt that they're really trying to go in to win games. And to be fair to Golden State, when they've been good in the league, their defense has always been the thing that they prided themselves on. And Steph just being a very good offensive player could make those lineups work. So that's really going to be the tilt in the question. I don't really feel sad about Clay being gone. They won titles. It kind of is what it is.
Do you think you were able to replace him or improve your team after the loss of him?
Replace Clay Thompson. I don't think there's any replacing Clay Thompson. He's still one of the best catch and shoot players. The problem with that is it's the other side of the basketball. Clay Thompson is just not going to be able to replicate, and he's the older player. I think the way that they're going to replace his productivity is through a myriad of different lineups and rotation, just being a bit more versatile in place of that.
Okay, that question was from Heaven Sent in the chat. Far as the future now, bro, and this is it for me. And anybody else that want to chime on the Warriors, feel free. I'm just going back and forth with Gifter real quick because I know he came here on his lunch break, so that means a lot. Um, Talk about this season, bro. Talk about the expectations for this year. You gave me the win total. Talk about something that you're looking for or expecting out of D'Anthony. Maybe even what Kyle Anderson can bring to your team. GP2 and his health, if healthy. Jackson Davis, year two. Um, so talk about some pod. Is he going to take that leap offensively, or even just all around as a player? And then, Buddy, what is Buddy going to bring to your team? I want you to dive into this season right here. Let's focus on this season. How many teams in the West do you think y'all are better than? If so, what teams? And then in the future, I want you to talk about post this season. How do you envision Golden State Warriors basketball looking like 2 years from now, 3 years from now, etc.?
Yeah, so I'm actually excited for this season in terms of the growth of some of the players on this team. I think it's going to have to be very interesting of a situation to see exactly where this evolves. I would say the number one thing I think matters in this season is understanding the players and who's going to get paid and who's not going to get paid. I think the Warriors have done a bad job at asset mismanagement for some time now. I think it's comical that a player like Moses Moody, who showed you value in spots, they were willing to play two-way players that they didn't really have real interest in signing to the full roster over him, and but they were okay with putting him in the trade package for marketing. To me, knowing the contracts that are coming up, like Kuminga is looking for a max contract, he needs to get rotational minutes. Like, I think they have to make the tilt to say, okay, this is our team. We're going to spend our time developing these players and leaning on them more because that's the only way that they'll be able to put up production that could actually be useful to the Golden State Warriors. I think Depop, in terms of his all-around play, was a pretty good player, but I said this last year. To me, he just gives me too many flashes of Ben Simmons at times, where it's like there's three people in the paint. You are a good shooter, and yet for some reason you still refuse to shoot the ball. I want to see B Pods shoot the basketball, not play um not confident with Steph Curry or Chris Paul, but actually like take control of the offense more. He shot pretty good on step back threes, but again, the volume simply was not there. I think he's a better talent than that. I think fundamentally he does a lot of things well, but just being more aggressive with the volume is a huge thing. I think Andrew Wiggins is another player that is confusing as hell on this roster because
Yeah,
last year he was a far like he was so far from what he was for
yeah,
this team. And I think with the off the court stuff, his father passed, so that's got to be hard for him to deal with. But while he was alive, I think that was a huge issue for him because he didn't have clarity on like what was or what wasn't. So I do think for him, he's looking to have a bounce back season to help repair his value and his reputation. Steve Kerr says he wants him to take more threes. And I really am curious as to the shot diet of Andrew Wiggins because in the past, we've seen him be like a 20 points per game guy. Last year, he was like 12 or 13 on very suboptimal efficiency. My problem with Andrew Wiggins is he does not consistently want to get to the basket. He has a very shaky shot diet of mid ranges and pull ups, but there's so many moments where it's like if he just could have more control going to the basket and put his mind to just attacking the rim, he could have a lot of value. During the championship run, his commitment to the defensive end in terms of rebounding was a huge thing for our team that is normally a undersized team. So for me, just seeing him get back into that mode is something I hope he can get to at least build up his value to get traded if that has to be the case. So those are like my main things that I want to see from the team this year. I think ultimately this team still has flaws. They don't have a reliable secondary scoring option, but I do think their defense is going to look better than it did last year because they have better personnel. Draymond is back as well. If he plays more games, they should be better. So those are my overall looks. In terms of who I'm taking them over, I honestly have no answer for that. And the reason why is there's just too much variance and there's too many variables for me to have to think about with the young players and a rotation. Is Kerr going to give guys that should be playing more minutes? Is Trey Jackson Davis going to have an increased role? Is Kevon Looney gonna actually have a different role this year? Because Looney is another player that really underperformed to his standard last year, and he looks to be in much better shape. And they're talking about using him in different ways offensively because he's a pretty bad offensive player in terms of shot quality at the rim and the Kobe-esque pump fakes he does a lot. So there's just a lot of questions with this team. I think my high end for them, if everything pans out and goes right, and I mean everything. I'm not saying this is where they'll be. I'm just saying if every question mark is a positive, I think a 5 seed is realistic. I think if everything goes wrong, they don't make the plan. That's how high their thing is.
Hmm. Okay, I think that 5 seed one is interesting. Everything go right, all the positive, all the question marks are positive. 5th seed. Hmm.
Yep.
Okay,
And then if
but
things go wrong in terms of Steph getting injured, Draymond punching
right.
another Eastern European, then most likely they're not going to be in the plan if those things happen like that.
Damn, that 5 seed a little high for me, bro. I think that one's a little high. You
But
don't feel that?
that's the ceiling though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
about to say, yeah, I think that yes, the ceiling. Like
Yeah,
if
that's just
everything
the
would have gone.
ceiling. So that's fine.
I
Okay.
mean, I don't think that's impossible though.
Again, I can't stress it enough, bro. One thing you didn't touch on, and again, appreciate the back and forth. This will be a phenomenal post to YouTube. Feel like we recorded an episode or something. You didn't touch on DeAnthony, Buddy, and Cal though.
Well, yeah, sure. I'm down to do that quickly. Buddy Hield to me, wild card. Not gonna lie. I kind of crashed out when I saw that we signed him because I saw Kyle Lowry outperform him in the playoffs. But the one thing about Buddy Hield that I do have to be honest about is at the very least, he is a great shooter. There are things he can take from the Clay Thompson skill that athletic, and I just think that he fits into the free flowing offense pretty well, and probably similar to what Clay Thompson was able to do. I think Kyle Anderson kind of makes me nervous because to go from Clay Thompson slow jump shot animation that I've seen, frankly, in my time period in the league watching it. He has a very slow jumper. I think offensively, that's going to get weird. To me, I think Kyle Anderson is like the perfect Steve Kerr player in terms of the passing, the IQ, and the defensive end. So that'll be a positive. But the lineups in terms of how Kerr has to make it fit, I think, is valid to question. I don't know, quite frankly, what to expect when it comes down to those areas. I like D'Anthony Melton probably the most out of those three because he can play defense, he can shoot the ball, he's a solid connected passer, and I think he's a different skill set based off our guards because mostly it's more off. I think he's the most like all around neutral guard pretty much on the roster. And at his best in Philadelphia when he was healthy, he was playing pretty good basketball. So I think that's something that could be repeatable for him in the Golden State offense. But obviously, time will tell.
Listen, brother. I thank you. I can tell by all your movements. We obviously text about it. I know you did this on your break. Thank you. I don't know how much more you can. I don't know if you can answer anything else. But anybody got any other comments for Gifted potentially before he
He was
leaves?
about to have a wild moment.
Yeah, well, that was wild. That comment was more than wild. Anybody got any?
I got time for like two more questions, and then
All right,
Anybody
I
got
got
any
a question. I'm glad
yeah,
you said that because
I can take like yes, I can take like two more questions, and then I got to get back to work. Y'all can go ahead.
all right,
Yeah, I
so
got a question for Gifted.
So fuck West. That shit is
You
insane.
ain't no way you ain't
go
hear
That's
ahead,
me.
actually
Tween.
crazy.
Go
Though,
ahead,
I'm
Tween.
not gonna lie.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Twin. He said,
this
go ahead.
nigga Tween, man.
You seen Looney slimming down. You feel me? You seen him say he's gonna shoot more threes. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, don't care too much about the threes, to be honest. It would be nice if he's able to expand his range. I think the real value for him instead of threes, even though it would be nice. I would say the mid range because for years he's shown you glimpses of a solid mid range touch. He just didn't really take a high volume of those. The big being in shape. If he's in shape, he should be able to replicate the defense value we saw 2 or 3 years ago, and even that in itself would provide value for the Warriors.
All right, so my question was, with you predicting like the ceiling being the 5th seed, about how good do you think Kuminga could be this year? Like a top 35 player? Like what type of leap are you expecting from him? Because I'm assuming, keyword assuming, that your 5th seed ceiling take is about him rising to a level where he's like an all-star caliber player right around that.
Yeah, so the 5th seed fill and take really depends on Draymond looking like one of the better defenders in the league, and he's playing more than I would say 60 games. Steph Curry has to have like an MVP caliber season, even if he's not really MVP caliber. Like me, like his value to the Warriors in terms of what he can do downhill vertically. After he went to the media and asked for increased role, he was one of the more efficient players in basketball. He averaged like 19 points during that stretch. His mid-range was coming there, but his downhill ability is just a thing that opens up so much for this team. And again, in space, if he's able to do that, I don't think he has to average like 25 or 26, but if he's consistently being given that role and offensively, he's able to really put pressure on the basket. On a shooting team like this, where Curry is trying to have the volume of threes on a night-to-night basis, those are how they're going to be able to win games with a good defense. Because if you're just outright shooting more threes than most of the league on a night-to-night basis, and you have like a very good defense, that's what's going to give them a chance to win on top of just having like a top 10 caliber player in Steph Curry on the roster. So the ceiling to me is really focused on their players being stars in their roles consistently and their star players being very good at what they do. For Kuminga, if I had to like give you a number on player, I don't think he has to be like a top 25 player, maybe top 40, but that's just hard to even like count on. But that's why I'm saying that's the ceiling. I don't believe they're going to hit the ceiling, but if those things do go right, I think that's definitely possible based on what high volume threes and a good defense can lead you to.
All right, I like that answer. Yeah, it wasn't what I thought it would be, but it makes sense. So like, I'm in support of that.
Thank you again, brother. Whenever you drop, either way, thank you. I'm gonna pivot to the next person. Low. I'm gonna pivot to Low, and then I'm also going to pivot to Derek. And I want to hear J Dub on the Warriors. I'm gonna go Low, Derek, J Dub.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, get it.
Yeah, better not. I'm gonna bounce out. First off, good show again. If you end the playback, there's no reason why you're not on the YouTube. When he live streams on YouTube, spam that shit up, like, comment, subscribe. Go get the merch. Tap in because Ev is gonna be consistent for NFL and basketball for all regular season, and there's not that many consistent content creators. So definitely go tap in. I gotta bounce, but Ev, I hope this is good enough. Have a good one, bro.
Much love, bro. We're gonna talk next week. Much love, bro. Nothing but love. With that oop that he just passed, I gotta dunk it. So again, y'all, he talking about the YouTube. Fact is that YouTube is right there in the chat. The show is live every single day. Sometimes YouTube is the primary source. Make sure you all subscribe to Fact is That's on YouTube, y'all. It's right there in the chat.
Hilarious, dog.
I appreciate all the love. I appreciate all the support. We're at 2,000 subscribers. And I would expect to be able for 2025 as long as I stay consistent, like he just shouted out. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. And yeah, no. Anyway, low. What you got? What you got with the Warriors, bro? Over under 46 wins. What do you think is next for your team?
Um, over under 46. I'm not gonna. We might be around 46 again. If I had to pick one, I'd say I'm gonna say over because I think we're gonna get like 47, 40, like somewhere. Honestly, I think we're gonna be anywhere between 45 and 40 and 48. So we'll probably be around the same range. But I think the West is gonna fall a little bit differently, right? So that 46 wins got us a tendency last year. So I think that 47, 48 wins probably get us. We'll still be like, I think we'll be like a eight, somewhere between 6 and 8, somewhere between 6 and 8. I agree with Gifted. I think the ceiling probably be like five seed. Um, but you said what's next? I think we're gonna have a. I'm a little shaky. Honestly, I'm a little shaky. I'm not really a fan of the roster construction. I think we got some good pieces. I think Kaminga. I like Kaminga. I do think he can take a leap. What do you average? Like I think he averaged like 16 and 5 last year, and he didn't even really get playing time until the second half of the season, right? So, and once he started getting playing time, you saw, with the increased usage, he did look a little bit better, or he was, let's say, production. He was putting up higher production numbers. Um, Andrew Wiggins is still on his team. I kind of got to see how he fits, where he fits. How does he get played? We have a lot of small guys. Like, well, not even necessarily small. We have a lot of like mid-sized guys, like a lot of 6'4" to 6'7" type guys. Like, and I kind of got to see what we do with all this, right? I want to see how. And I'm not really a fan of Steve Kerr. So that's another wrench in all this. I'm really not a Steve Kerr fan. He's cool, but he tends to do a lot of that shit. Throw a lot of three. He gonna fuck around, throw 4 guards out there, bro. I ain't gonna lie. He gonna fuck, bro. We gonna see lineups with we're gonna see a lineup with Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton, Steph Curry, and Brandon Posminski, or I haven't even mentioned Wiggins or Kaminga yet. So it's like there's a lot of smaller, undersized. I don't know, because they're not really small, but at the same time, they're not like, you feel me? Like, they're not that big of players. So I gotta see how these rotations, bro. I got really wherever we end up this season, I really feel like it's gonna depend on the rotations a lot and how our players are used. Kyle Anderson, I'm not really a fan of that pickup. It was a cool little addition, another high IQ player, which it's never bad to have high IQ players, especially when I've seen us have some low IQ players in the past. So, he's a high IQ player. So I'm cool with the addition, but in terms of his actual abilities on the court, I'll just have to see it play out. I think he's a guy that's going to get along well with Draymond because I think they're two guys that sort of have a certain ideal, or they think the game pretty well, right? Um, and Trace? We got Trace coming back after his first year. I think he had a solid first year. Now, between him and Looney, man, I think our center position weak as hell. Shout out to Trace too, but we gotta
You
do
think so,
something.
bro?
You
I
said
think
what?
it's a solid center rotation, low key, bro. Like, I don't think that's
Trace, Jackson
bad.
Davis, and Kevon Looney's a solid center rotation.
I mean, yeah. I mean, as far as like being
Or are you only
rebounders,
saying that because we got Draymond and you just feel like he's gonna somehow make that shit work?
yeah. I don't think. I mean, Looney was a part of a championship team at a point, and Trace was not bad last season. So it's like, I don't know. I think Looney can have a bounce back season to be fair to them. And honest, I was also going to ask you when you said the size, like, where does the size concern you for the team? Type shit.
In terms of like, what do you mean where? Like everywhere. What do you mean?
You saying the size of the team concerns you? I'm trying to. I was asking
like
why.
we're definitely small at the center position, right? But
Yeah.
I was more so speaking like overall, like the lineups that we're gonna throw out. We're gonna throw out a lot of like undersized lineups, which we don't have a choice.
Yeah,
We
the
don't
4 guard lineup, the 3 guard. Yep.
Yeah, like we're gonna be throwing out 4 guards, 3 guards, like. And I'm nervous about how Steve Kerr is going to navigate that because I know he will fall in love with these 4 guard, 3 guard lineups that just we're going to get demolished on the glass. Now, it may work if those lineups are just getting threes up at a crazy rate. Then hey, it might all equal out, right? It might balance out. But I just I have to see that with my own 2 eyes. Tweet, what you said, new additions. I feel like I'm speaking of new editions, right? Who I spoke on what's his name? The slow guy. I just
Slow
spoke on
mo
slow.
Kyle Anderson.
Yeah, I just spoke on Kyle Anderson. Who else? Who
Yeah.
haven't I spoke on
How about
yet?
Milton,
D'Anthony
Buddy?
Melton. I'm curious about to see how he fits into all this, right? D'Anthony Melton. They picked him up. He's sort of a defensive specialist, right? But at the same time, like I said, we already have a bunch of guards. So where is he gonna like? Is he? They said they love Pods. Is he gonna be taking Pods minutes? Is he gonna be taking what's his
That's a
name? He's
good
gonna be taking
question.
like we have there's a whole
He'll
bunch
probably
of
take Harold minutes, to be honest.
undersized guards, right? Undersized players right now that we wanna that we can't just throw them all out there together, right? We still, like I said, we still have Wiggins, who's probably gonna play the 3 or the 4, right? Because he's gonna have to. Um, uh, we still got Moody, we still got GP too. We still got a bunch of guys. We got a bunch of guys right now who aren't exactly the biggest guys. So, but we're gonna have to play them as bigger guys. Like we're gonna be having to play Moody and Wiggins as like 3s and 4s. Well, and 3's not that bad, but 4s is not. Like we're gonna be getting we're probably gonna get punished on the glass on a lot of nights.
Also, Draymond maybe at the 5 in some
Yeah,
instances.
we're gonna be playing.
Kuminga,
I mean, that's
the
probably
5.
only gonna be in spurts though.
Kuminga at the 4 is undersized.
Yeah, he's gonna have to play a lot of 4 because it's the only thing that just makes sense with the roster that we have. Like it's too many undersized guys, which I understand that's just what we ended up with, but we got to work on that. We got to get some size.
I mean, despite that, we were still the best rebounding team in the league. I'm not necessarily concerned.
Yeah,
I guess
the rebounding thing is 50-50, right? Because we are going to get out rebounded in some games, but at the same time, like the way that the team is set up, we know we're undersized. So a lot of times we get scrappy rebounds. Like it's just like, especially, and Wiggins was famous for this. I think about 2 years ago, he kind of fell off, but he used to grab a lot of those scrappy ass rebounds. Like he'll fight, get positioning, and or those long rebounds. He'll be the first to scramble to it, like stuff like that. Like we used to pride ourselves on shit like that. But we'll see how it looks like this year. Who haven't I spoke on yet?
It's not just rebounding though for the undersized issue, because that you guys were undersized last year, and one of the issues y'all had was handling bigger teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like stopping.
Yeah, on the defensive end too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
not
because we
necessarily
did
just
struggle with
rebounding,
that
right? When we have to guard against players against teams that have 1 or 2.
Yeah, and that's how the West is. The West are big teams. There's big teams in the West.
So I see you guys. If this is a wrong number, correct me. 11.3 million under the second apron. Do you guys do you make a move for size at the deadline? And what would, because I know you have all your first rounders and some of your second rounders. Do you make moves to get some size at the deadline?
I mean, possibly. I mean, but Golden State's not really a team that's done a major move at the deadline. Like the last move we made, the deadline's for a guy that's already played there. So I'm not really sure how they're gonna, unless they really feel like they can contend and they see something. Maybe they make a move, but if it's like a mediocre team, it's like a middling team, like probably not.
Who are they trading?
That and then
I'm
not saying trading for. Trading.
You can trade the Hill contract.
No, it's not just trading.
I gotta call y'all.
Like,
my bad.
Like, forget about the trading for. Like, I don't think they have a contract to trade for someone. Because like Jonathan Kuminga's still on his rookie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a small contract.
This is contract year too. He's looking for an extension.
Yeah, that's a small contract, and plus they don't want to get off of him. Pods is on a small contract. They don't want to get off, even if he was on a big contract. They don't want to get off of him. Like they don't have contracts like to trade.
To Ness, they could move GP2. That's a good amount of money. Von Looney.
What do you make, like $8 million?
But they like G. I don't think GP2.
We traded 5 second-round picks to get back GP2. I don't think they're gonna trade him.
The reason why I didn't say anything about GP2 or Kevon Looney is because I don't think they are that valuable in the trade market.
I think you have to obviously add draft capital though. Like it's not themselves.
And the reason why I said that is because I've been looking at teams that might go after Jonas Valanciunas at the deadline, because I don't think he's a Wizard for the entire season this year. That trade alone, I think his cap hit is good enough where they don't have to make a move, or they don't have to add a contract. I think they could just add strictly picks, and they would still be under the second apron. So that's why I was asking. I don't know if
no, they have to trade a contract. They're over the first.
All right, well, they're okay. So
they have to match it, but they can do multiple 4-1 though.
So I think his cap hit only is $9 million this year, so it wouldn't be that much to offer. So
I don't know if Jonas help. I don't think Jonas.
I think Gary
Payton.
Payton straight up would probably do it though. That's the thing too. So maybe
Sorry.
I'm wrong. Because I think 9.9 or I'm not asking for I'm looking for multiple seconds maybe, but
You'd ask for seconds.
yeah, I'm not asking for like I'm not looking for a first round pick for Valanciunas, but multiple seconds I'd take for him. But
Okay, maybe they do that. I don't. Maybe I don't know. It's just that they really, from my understanding, they really like Gary because of his defense on the perimeter.
Yeah, Gary's a perimeter defender, right? But we got D'Anthony Melton now, who he could probably
that's
fill that
I mean, but he's not. He probably
GP2 is legit a dog defender though, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Melton plays as big as Gary. That's probably the only problem.
Because I don't think Jonas adds that much value to the team. But I'm low on Jonas though.
I mean, it would be pretty decent because he's a solid passer and he can operate in the mid post area where they like to put their bigs at in the split action. So I think that'll be a decent fit scheme wise. It would just be the defense, which if Draymond could make up for, it wouldn't be too bad. But
yeah, it'll be hard though.
Quickly, J-Dub and Derek. 30 plus minutes on the Warriors, which I moved a little bit. But Derek, I'm gonna go to you real quick. What do you think is next for the Warriors, bro?
Yeah, so for one, I am taking the under. This team is puny. I don't know why we were like walking it around like they aren't tiny. Trace is 6'9", Kevon 6'9" on a good day. Draymond, I think, is 6'6". So
I didn't even know Trace was 6'9". That's that goes to my point. There you go.
Yeah, they're tiny. So like Kerr said, they want to be a high volume 3-point shooting team. He's never said that in the years he's been there.
They don't have a choice.
That's kind of my point. I think the reason I'm scared for this team is you're asking a lot of players who have not asked to be doing these kinds of things. Pods that Gifted alluded to, I think could be poised for, a breakout year, so to speak. But if he's asked to just pretend to be Clay, that's not going to be good for him. I would much rather him be the lead ball handler for second units. That would be really good development for him. Wiggins taking 6 threes a game. Good luck with that. I just want Wiggins to be available on the court and care about defense again because he just wasn't a good basketball player for most of last season. I understand he had off the court stuff. I'm not saying it's not an excuse, but the bar is low right now. Kuminga, yeah, he's the X factor. The press conference did not do wonders for him. I'm not going to lie. It did inspire a lot of confidence. But I think he's still a talented player. You got to use him somehow. I'd hate to see a Kyle Anderson or if they play Trace or Kevon, like take a lot of minutes. Like Kuminga has to be out here for offense. He is the one player I actually trust to get to the basket and cause some havoc. Steph is too old.
Which
I'm
is
still
sad,
rely on.
Wiggins used to be that guy too.
Yeah, Wiggins. I don't expect Wiggins to do that. Yeah. So as far as the new additions, I also agree with Gift as far as D-Mail. I think he'll fit into the Warrior system well. It's just about him staying on the court, but he's a solid 3-and-D. Him being a ball handler would scare me. I don't think he's really cut out for that, especially with a lack of help on the second unit. But I think he's a good complement to Steph. And Draymond, Buddy is a total wild card. I agree. Like, he was not good for my Sixers, and I don't see him improving on the defensive end. So it's just a matter of if he can still be viable offensively. But I wouldn't expect big minutes from him.
A positive thing about Buddy too, Derek, I think he's gonna get a lot of wide open shots. And he is, at the end of the day, he's a shooter. At the end of the day, like, he might be, he might have had some shaky shooting stretches in his career. But at the end of the day, bro, he's a shooter, bro. He's gonna be shooting wide open a lot, bro. He's gonna have to hit that bitch at least at a 40% clip for me to be.
I don't know that he's gonna be wide open.
And
nearly as much.
He gives up more points than he gives you.
Right. So he's he's a guy. That's
Clay
for
was
sure.
doing the same thing. Fuck it, we not missing out on that.
Slow-Mo, I think, is a solid fit.
Defender.
He's a cool player. I'm not attached to GP2 personally. I think he's a cool player, but I don't really think his value is something that I need to keep long term. I don't think I would personally trade him. I don't think he adds a lot to this unit as currently constructed. A guy like Moses Moody should be getting more minutes, and you got to decide what you're going to do with him moving forward. So they're in a really weird stretch of last year should have been a developmental year for the young core. This way they could actually try to be more competitive, but now they're stuck in the middle. So overall, I'm not super high on them. I think they need a ton of injury luck. And yeah, it's tough to be super excited for this Steph Curry team. I don't think they're in a great contention window, but they'll be around for the play-in for sure.
Yeah, well said. Everything that you said, low too. J-Dub, you want to close this out? You active? Or we can stop right there? To be honest, I don't know if J-Dub is here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'll pass on this one. The Astros game started, so I'm a little focused.
All right, you good, brother. Understandable. Good luck. Hopefully y'all don't go home today.